All right, welcome to Riding Shotgun. And man, let me tell you what's going on today. It's, first of all, it's cold, it's blustery, it feels like late fall, and we've been kind of spoiled. The weather's been pretty good, but we got some rain, so I don't know how far I can drive back here today. We're gonna find that out together, and if I get stuck, you'll hear bad words. I'm gonna go even slower than usual, and I know some people have gotten on me about, well, you're not driving very fast. Well, we're not in any hurry, but I may only be able to go a portion of the way and have to turn around. But anyhow, Ayo, that was exciting the other day, man. That was really cool. I mean, that was the most excitement. Well, I guess most excitement about a player since, I guess, April, when Mark Smith committed. But that was really fun, and to have it be a Chicago kid was cool. A public league kid was cool, from the same high school that gave us Levi Cobb, right? Was cool, and a really good player, and by all indications, a kid with a genuine personality, which is going to be fun. You know, it takes some courage to do that. I think we all sometimes think, well, you know, it'd be easy for a kid to just stay in state, but you know, when you're maybe being the only one here in a while, it's been easy for kids to flee to the coasts or go somewhere else. But for him to do that, good for him, and good for his family too. You know, clearly his mom and dad very involved in his life, in his decision. And I wrote a column about this the other day. You know, when you're recruiting these kids, particularly the in-state kids, and I have to talk to Brad about this, but I'm sure that they do this, but don't underestimate the value of recruiting the moms on the premise of being able to see your kid play every home game. You know, I tell you, Mashonda Hill, Malcolm's mom, was just so grateful that she had the opportunity to drive up from Belleville and see every game, and she loved it. And since they renovated the State Farm Center, the seats that the parents are in now are just, they're ideal. And what a thrill for a mom and dad to sit nearly courtside, right off the edge of the bench, watch all the interaction with the coaches and players, watch all that stuff that happens on the court so close, to ride that roller coaster with their kids, and like Mashonda did, you know, so excited and happy and gleeful when things would go well for Malcolm, and then, you know, jump out of your seat in anxiety when he would go down, you know, as kids inevitably do. They crash to the floor, or they come up limping briefly, hopefully briefly, or they miss a key shot or a key free throw, or you know, all that stuff. And so she loved it. I've seen other parents do it and love it as well. I think Yvonne Smith, Mark Smith's mom, and his dad Anthony are very much looking forward to that same experience of watching their kid. And you know, if a kid decides to go to, you know, somewhere out on the East Coast or wherever, you might get to a few games, but most families are not going to be able to financially afford to go to all the games and fly out there for everyone. It might be different in football when you only have, you know, 7 home games or whatever, but to have the number of home games you have in basketball, to be able to just drive down there and drive back, and if you're unfortunate enough to get a horrible winter weather day, you know, grab a hotel in Champaign and then head back the next day. But they did a good job of recruiting the whole package. Ayo, his mom, his dad, and there were other people too, and I think we'll see Mac Irvin Fire people come down to watch him. You know, it just means a lot. It feels bigger than just a really good player committing. It feels like there's more to come because of it. And Talen Horton-Tucker in town over the weekend from Simeon will decide Thursday. I don't know what he's going to do. I think it's just a total guess now between you know, what he's thinking about between Illinois and Xavier and Iowa State. And but just like with the Ayo recruitment, I think it feels good to have the last official visit, to make the last big splash impression. You know, and he wants to have his own little ceremony too, and I get it. And so we'll see what happens, but it just feels like they're in a better position now because of the whole Ayo experience, and will be on other recruits moving forward. So that's all exciting stuff, no doubt about that. And we'll see where that goes with basketball. As for football, oh man, that game the other day, you know, there were some moments that where, you know, I was just watching those freshmen and thinking, wow, you know, I mean, Bennett Williams, what, you know, just laying the lumber to guys early in that game, making plays, forcing fumbles, and then taking the ball away. You know, the defense is starting to really make its mark in that regard. They're not scoring with the ball, and I know that's what they want to do. They'd like to have some plays like Eddie Jackson did with the Bears on Sunday against Carolina. But and then exciting to see Cam Thomas get in the game, play quarterback. They got the ball in the end zone right away after he took over on a short field. But you know, the discouraging things was the breakdown of the run defense against that one play that Minnesota wisely ran over and over and over and over and over and over, because Illinois was not going to stop it, and or was unable to stop it. So I mean, that was really tough. And then the late interception by Cam Thomas, when, you know, I think it's fair to say, you know, we were rooting for him there. I mean, you just want to see a kid, something great happen for a kid, and come out and throw that. And, you know, Derek McGee said yesterday, you know, blame that on me. I asked him to do something that he's just not ready for. Now, I've got to change subjects for a minute, because when when the corn comes out of the field, my farmer is out here fairly quickly and turned this field over, which he did, but he dropped the tines early across this grass path that I drive, and he tore this thing up, and I can't tell how wet it is, or I can tell how rough it is because I walked it the other day and it's rough. Golly, let's just try it and see if we can get across here. Hallelujah. We made it. By the way, I walked back here the other night and with the dogs, my wife and I and the dogs, and we got up here to the top of the hill, and I turned right here at the top of the hill, and it goes back. There's a creek back here in our woods, and there was 6 deer standing right there, and I wish I'd have had the camera, and I forgot my phone up at the house. But and then the next night we came back and there was 4, and I've got a guy let hunt back here, do a little deer hunting, and I don't think he's gotten anything, and I don't think he's seen much, and I didn't have the heart to tell him what we saw. But let's see if there's anything back here today. Sorry, then we'll get back on football, but nope, there's not. But it was just, you know, it was they're right there again. They got to learn how to finish these games, and Garrick talked about that yesterday. I thought his comments were really good. Once again, forthcoming in just talking about how, you know, the freshmen got to get past the part where they doubt themselves and they don't quite have the confidence to finish the game. You know, get out there and make some blocks and make some tackles and do some things. And you know, you look at the numbers, and the freshman numbers are undeniable. You know, 14 freshmen, true freshmen, have started. If Cam Thomas starts Saturday against Wisconsin, which is possible, I mean, they could go with either quarterback. They're going to play both of them, it sounds like. That'll be 15 true freshmen starting. 21 right now have played. You know, the next time you're at a high school game, look around at the best players. How many of them are really ready to play winning Big Ten football within 10 months? They're almost none. They're physically not ready. They're mentally overwhelmed once they get to college with all they have to do, how complicated things are in the playbook and what they're asked to do on the football field. And oh, by the way, you got to get to class and you got to do all this stuff, which is harder than anything you've ever done before. So, excuse me. So I'm not making excuses for them. and this is where I get in. I have my problems with Lovey. You know, it's not what he's doing coaching. You know, I know he cares. I know people would like to see more outward emotion from him. You're not going to see that. And I keep telling people that just doesn't matter. You know, if that mattered, Bill Belichick's teams would suck. But it doesn't matter. That isn't what's important. But what I would like to see him do is be a more take charge spokesman for the program, when part of what he gets paid for is the public relations element. And I think he could do a better job of explaining to the public, not as an excuse, but look, here's our plan. Here's what we're trying to do. And here's what we believe will happen. And instead he kind of leaves it to us, and I don't mind doing it, but it would mean more to fans if it was coming from the head coach. If he would say, you know, I know that some games you're going to sit there and it's going to be rough, and you're going to feel frustrated when you leave the stadium, and believe me, it is for us too. You know, and here I am, in my opinion, doing his job for him. But we believe that with this investment in the true freshmen right now, that we will get to a point next year and the year after particularly, but even next year, where all this experience pays off, where these guys do have the confidence to turn the corner and win these close games. And I just wish he would do that more. Garrett explains it more. Doesn't mean as much coming from a coordinator as it would be coming from the head coach. And so his silence on that, or his unwillingness to offer explanations and so forth, I think hurts him, and that's up to him. But anyhow, they play Wisconsin Saturday, and listen, the way Rutgers has run the ball, the way Minnesota ran the ball, now you're going to run up against a team that can really run the ball, that has one of the great offensive lines in America. And by the way, when you watch this offensive line, this is what they're trying to assemble at Illinois, and what they believe they have the start of in the 3 true freshmen that are on the line right now, in the 2 tackles and Paljewski at the guard. But you're going to see that, and I don't see any way Illinois has the manpower to stop that, slow it. You know, if you were able to slow it, that'd be great. The one thing Wisconsin has done is they've turned it over a little bit, and Illinois is starting to generate some turnover, so that would be good. But, you know, let's see what can happen with Cam Thomas. I would really like to see them learn as much as they can about Cam Thomas here in the final weeks of this season, because I think he's integral going forward. At this moment, when we look around the program, we don't see a complete quarterback. We see, and Jeff threw the ball well Saturday. I think he completed 78% of his passes or something like that, and did not turn it over. But, you know, Cam does not have a full grasp of the playbook, and that's why the rotation's going on right now. There's just some things he doesn't know, and you're probably setting him up to fail. That's what they felt happened on that last interception. But I want to see more of him, and he's obviously a good-looking athlete, and let's let him get out there. He had his eyes open. That was his first college football game. Let's see what he learned and what he feels like he can do on Saturday. That's 11 o'clock, Illinois homecoming game. And, you know, we'll see. But anyhow, well, I've come to where I've got to turn around, and I think it's dry enough to do it here. We're going to find out, aren't we? Anyhow, thanks for riding along. Appreciate it. And, you know, I've been thinking, too, what are we going to do when we start getting a bunch of snow back here? Hey, we'll figure something out, you know. We'll get that done. And I don't know if I can make an all-the-way turnaround. Boy, I wish we had 2 cameras so I could show you what's in front. You would at least feel slightly more informed than this inadequate description of what we're doing. And, yeah, we're going to make it all right here. We're going to be good. There we go. And my dog, I thought it was going to be too wet for my dog to come back. I've gotten a lot of comments from people about the dog. I'll get the dog out of here, and I'll take the camera off the little stand holder here, and I'll put it out and show you in the front, and you can see her running along, because she's pretty funny when she's out here charging around. She loves riding shotgun. I should let her in the truck, except she'd probably start barking, and that'd be a bad thing. Okay, listen, have a great weekend. We'll see what happens Thursday on the basketball front, whether they get another commitment or not. Either way, I just like the way things are pointed, and we'll see where they go from there. Thanks for being with us today, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.